asked recently about, hey, Realmware, why didn't you say anything about the A men and A women? And to be perfectly honest, it's because I forgot. Completely forgot about it. There were so many other things going on, especially with the attack on the Capitol, that I completely forgot about it. Just whoosh. So I decided I'm not just going to talk about that because that'd take me, 10, 15 seconds to talk about, and actually just kind of streamline all the things Congress has been doing lately. So to begin with, this all starts, of course, before the attack on the Capitol. But we have this start with Pelosi and her infinite wisdom. Yeah, not. But anyhow, she's decided that we're going to get rid of all engendered terms. Engendered. I don't even know if that's a real word, but we'll go with it. Anyhow, the idea, or I should say, it is a real word, I know that, but I mean, like, if they're using it right, it is. But anyhow, we have all terminology that refers to any type of gender cannot be written into any new laws. None, according to the House of Representatives. Now, the Senate doesn't have to listen to that. Everybody's ignoring that piece. But the House of Representatives has written this in here. That we can't have man, woman, daughter, son, male, female, uncle, aunt, none of it. All's got to go out the door. Just out the door. Well, what the heck? That ain't right. How are you supposed to describe people that way? And from what I've been hearing on the interwebs, what I've been reading around, they might actually have a pretty ingenious way of determining male from female as far as the as far as how to describe them if they do need to say male and female. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the terminology is. Not because I'm trying to hide it from you, but because I swore I would never sink to that level on this channel. I refuse. The terminology they plan on using, and I'll hint at it for those of you who are highly intelligent, I'm sure you'll figure it out. And for those of you who have yet to reach that intelligence, you're probably too young to figure that out yet, so don't worry about it. But no kidding, it sounds like they're planning on using things that certain people can generate through their bodies, depending on what sex they are. Males can produce a certain something, and females can produce a certain something. Now, technically, females can do two somethings, but we're going with the opposite, or I shouldn't say the opposite, because it's not really an opposite, but the correlating piece, shall we say, that goes against the male's piece. You kind of going with what's happening here? Yeah, and it's production of that. So it's a blank producing individual and a blank producing individual. Yeah, that's how their rumors are. Now, if they're really going to go that way, I have no idea, but it wouldn't surprise me. These guys are completely crazy. They're insane. But anyhow, so that's what started it. We're getting rid of all gendered words. Just gone. And then, because we really want to show how awesome we are, how we're completely getting rid of all gendered terms, we're going to end a prayer with amen and a woman. All right, now, but before we get there, I want to point out something that seems to have completely gone over everybody's heads. Just, nobody noticed. The fact that the House of Representatives is still praying, I mean, at all. Who are you praying to? Because apparently you've thrown God out the window. You can't have him. No. You can't. No praying. Bad religion. Evil religion. Separation church and state. No praying allowed. So why are you even saying a prayer? At all. Why is nobody asking this question? Why is AOC in her campaign asking this? Come on. Now, of course, I know why, because if they ever actually truthfully try to get rid of it, well, they might be another attack on the Capitol. I know I'm a bad human being for saying that and joking about it this far out. It's only been, less than a week since the last one happened, but still, come on. Yeah, thinking with the brains here. But anyhow, so you have whatever, I don't remember the guy's name. I don't give a flying hoot what the guy's name is because he's a noob and a moron. But he's out there and saying whatever prayer he says and amen and amen. Well, it looks like somebody needs to go back to school. Amen is a Latin word, you numbskull. It is not a word that the English invented, or the French, the Chinese, or the Korean, or anybody else came up with. It's a Latin word. Yes, I know, Latin, the dead language. which means it doesn't change anymore. Right? Because nobody speaks it anymore. Well, if they do speak it, they don't realize they're speaking it, and amen is one of those words. So another one out there for you, alma mater. All right, basically the school we come from, alma mater. That's also Latin. There's quite a few Latin words out there, especially anytime you come up with medical stuff. That's all Latin terminology. So, but it doesn't change. That's the whole thing. All right, so amen has nothing to do with whatever it is they're trying to say it is. It has nothing to do with males at all. In fact, it's just simply a affirmation, a yes, and I agree type thing. That's it. So a women, or whatever the fact they want to go with, means literally nothing. It means complete and absolute bunk for the Congress to say that at the end of a prayer. It means nothing. Literally nothing. You don't even have a definition for it before you used it. I mean, I wonder how many people in the back of the room are going, I can't believe you just said that. I'm also curious if he wrote that in himself, if he ad-libbed it, as in he didn't write it at all, it wasn't in his prayer at all, and he decided, the heck with this, I'm just going with it. Or if one of his little speechwriters, but he won't say it, oh, heck, I'll take that bet, $5. Who knows? But seriously, oh man, people were, of course, making cracks about that real quick, about, you're an idiot. Oh, look how woke this guy is. But it's not funny. Actually, it is funny because I get to laugh, because that's what I do. I laugh at stupid people. But this is the trend. Constantly seeing this. And these guys are bumbling idiots that have somehow managed to take control of everything because they control everything. Because we won't step in and freaking punch them in the nose. And we've tried a lot. I'm not saying we haven't. But it is getting to be that way where they just keep taking more and more control and less people are stopping them. I mean, seriously, somebody should have stood up and in front of the whole House of Representatives, no matter how embarrassing it is, and say, what the heck are you talking about? Crazy schmuck? Oh, heck, that'd be even more hilarious to watch on the TVs. I mean, you know how many people would be rooting for that guy? Yeah! Let's throw Ted Cruz in there. He's one of my favorite Republicans. Oh, he's a senator. That ain't gonna work. But anyhow, find some House of Representatives guy. I can't think of any off the top of my head, or any good ones, I should say, because there's so few of them. But well, I was gonna go with Mitch McConnell, but he's a moron. But anyhow, and also a senator, if I remember right. I can never keep the two straight, to be perfectly honest. It's ridiculous. But we have somebody. Somebody should have just stood up and said, no. Shut the heck up. Get out of my house. This is ridiculous. All right. Now, going into, a couple 3 days later, we have the assault on Congress. We're not going to go over that again about all the various things and my opinion on the matter because we already have a video on that. All right. Cool. But there were a few additional things that came out on it that I did want to kind of touch on that relates back into this whole Congress thing. We have a few Congress members who have come out and said that they were there protecting it. They were there protecting democracy. They were protecting all this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, first off, if you were for real ready to hold down the fort against the enemy, cool. Right on. That's awesome. I love that. I just want to point out that your enemy is the people of the United States. Just saying. But more importantly, even more importantly than that last statement, there's a lot of these people out there that are saying, we're here to make a stand, blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of people saying how under threat they were. Okay, yes, there were injuries. Yes, there were deaths. 4, 5, somewhere in there. How is it that there's these thousands upon thousands of people, and we've got AOC out there who, a couple 3 weeks ago, I was actually praising her momentarily, very momentarily. All right, she was out there saying, why the heck are we writing these bills 3, 4, 5,000 pages long, and then nobody reading them and having everybody pass them within, a day of them being finalized? 100% true. I agree. That's stupid. But anyhow, now she's gone right back into Stupidsville. She made her realize she was starting to make sense and decided to jump back on the train like crazy. But and then is now saying about how um, over half of the House Representatives, or maybe it was half of Congress, I don't remember which end she was saying, but anyhow, was under threat. Like they were, like their lives were threatened. Well, who? How are these guys threatening? That's the thing I've been really kind of looking into. I've been kind of digging in because we have, the police pulled the barricades out of the way. Look at these evil cops pulling the barricades away. Okay, I am kind of curious about that too. Really kind of curious. There's been rumors about how some of the cops had said, well, I don't agree with it, but, okay, I don't agree with what, but? I don't agree with these guys coming in, or I don't agree with keeping them out, or what? You know, what's going on here? What does that mean? So, of course, they're going to investigate, let them do their job. Again, not harboring on the cops at all. Cops are my favorite, my bestest buds, as the kiddies say. As long as they were doing what was legal and right. Now, if they were doing something illegal and wrong, I can't back you. But as far as I can tell, for the most part, doesn't look like it. But anyhow, 4 people, 5 people, depends on which news media you listen to, get different numbers and what day it is, really. But still, you're talking a handful of people out of thousands of people that were injured. Injured. How much of a threat was going on there, AOC? I'm kind of curious now. Again, said before, attack on Congress, kind of crazy. All right, not cool on it as far as doing it illegally. There's a legal way to do it and an illegal way to do it, and y'all decided, a lot of you decided to go the illegal route. Bad juju magumbo. All right, now we move on. All right, what happens almost immediately afterwards? All right, after a few hours, these guys go right back in there, and everybody that was saying, I'm gonna help Trump out, I'm gonna go against these votes, blah blah blah, and almost immediately after the attack, everyone has hit the destroy Trump button. Just bloop. I mean, everyone is going out there and, well, I'm no longer opposed to any of this stuff. I'm just going to let it go through. We're going to make sure that Joe Biden, is completely unfettered access to the White House, blah, blah, blah. We just let him in. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. Again, you're talking about a supposed majority of individuals in the United States had an issue with something you tried to pull. Somebody there tried to pull some crazy shenanigans, and they took issue with it. And you said, don't care. We're opposed to you, so we're going to really make sure you hurt. But it didn't just stop on that day. All right? It's continued further. More and more people are coming out saying we're opposed to Trump. We've got Facebook and Twitter out there revoking access to Trump. He's blocked out of his accounts. Freedom of speech, gone for him. These guys seem to have forgotten, but he's still president. He still gets to do president things. Unless you're Nancy Pelosi, who is currently out there trying to remove those rights. Okay, you don't have a legal means of doing that without, there is a one way of doing it. And that's by impeachment, which, by the way, you punks already tried. Now, as of today, they've already issued, yes, they have issued another impeachment charge on Trump. And this one, I think, is something about sedition or whatever. Basically, they're trying to charge him with, you were trying to incite the crowds. Really? And I said this in the other, I think I said it in another video. But they're talking about, trying to impeach him now. Well, it's Monday. Today's Monday, the 11th. And, you have to the 20th. Because guess what? You can't impeach somebody who's not sitting in that chair. You can't. It's illegal. It doesn't exist. So on the 20th, when Joe Biden raised his right hand and sworn in, hopefully he remembers all the words. I'm actually might be interesting to watch that. And the guy might have to say, how they have him, raise the right hand. Okay, now repeat after me. And then We'll see what happens. I wonder if the guy swearing him in only says 3 or 4 words because he knows Biden won't remember any more than that. We'll see what happens. But anyhow, so we have Joe Biden out there, or not Joe Biden, we have Nancy Pelosi out there trying to put these impeachment charges out that says that, oh, hey, we got to kick out Trump. Again, you have a week and a half from the 11th to the 20th to get this through. And we already know this ain't going to happen. There is no way this is going to happen. It's not going to get through. There ain't enough time. You guys argue about things all the time. Oh, by the way, it's the Senate that gets to decide. Now, yes, a lot of the Senate right now has issues with Trump. Very mad at him. They believe he's part of this coup. Okay, who got cooed? Eesh. But anyhow, they're thinking he's part of the riots, or they're trying to say they think it. I don't know if they really believe it or not. If they're just trying to say it with their own keisters. But anyhow, I doubt very much that very many Republicans. Now I'm sure one or two, because there were one or two that voted for him. I think, if I remember right, during the last impeachment. But anyhow, that they're going to try to impeach him. But most of the Republicans are not going to do that, because they don't want to be a part of this mess. All right, if they do say, yes, I want to vote and impeach Trump. Now, right now, they might be saying to the media cameras, I'm so opposed to Trump. Oh, he's horrible. Oh, he's awful. But if they actually put that down in paper, in writing, saying, I oppose the president, I say we impeach him and convict him, guess who has that writing? The American people. And guess who votes you in again? The American people. Now, yes, there's the whole cheaty cheat, but who's going to cheaty cheat to help the Republicans back in? I can tell you no Democrats are going to try that. Not happening. And Republicans aren't really known for cheating. It's not our thing. So, yeah, we're not going to help cheat to get them in. We're going to vote them out if they try that. And if they didn't think on that, they probably should start, because that could be what happened, or really will be what happened when 75 million or 80 million or whatever the number is find out, oh, my congressman, my senator decided to vote to convict Trump. Yeah, who's the other guy's name on the ballot? I'm going to circle that real quick, fill that bubble in. But again, it's going to take too long to even get there. I mean, not to say it can't. It can. It's very possible. Highly unlikely, but very possible that this could happen. But anyhow, so we have that. We have the wars on from Twitter and from Facebook going after Trump. Well, they haven't stopped there. They freaking went bang on. They've now gotten the green light from the media and from Congress and whoever else to go out there and just start plowing through any other conservatives they can find. I mean, they're going out there. It used to be they would just flag it as, this is inaccurate. This doesn't go with our beliefs. Whatever. Well, now they're just, the whole shadow banning thing that was talked about years ago, shadow's gone out. They're just straight up banning people. Taking them all out. Doesn't matter. They no longer care. They now have control of everything. Well, technically, they have control. Well, I shouldn't say technically, but in theory, they have control of everything, even though Republicans still run the Senate. Republicans still run the House. In a couple of weeks, Democrats will run everything, and that'll be it. And then the tech and media, they can do whatever they want. No one's opposing them anymore. Or are they? Or are they? Because I'm still here. You're still here. There's plenty of people out there that are still trying to fight this. And oorah for them. So yeah, Congress, they've been doing a lot of stupid stuff. We have got to, you, me, and anybody else, unless you're underage, and don't be doing it, because then you'd be falling in the cheaty cheat that liberals like to do. But every 2 years, when this comes up, you got to vote again. And I know, yes, they like to cheat. So, pick up some other skills. I'm not saying everybody needs to dedicate themselves to a life of politics or whatever, because that'd be ridiculous. But, what did we have this time around? We had a lot of people out there that caught them cheating. And they got the evidence. They got videos, sworn affidavits, all this stuff. And they took it to the courts, they took it to various state legislatures, and it all got shut down. Just, no. So you can help gather the evidence, but we also need to get some more of our guys into those positions of power. How do you do that? Vote them in. Run. I mean, I realize a lot of people were like, ooh, that's kind of nervous. I'm not going to win. There's no way I can win. I don't have any history in politics. I want to remind you of something. Who is currently in trouble for not having a history in politics and winning the highest seat in the country? That's right, Donald Trump. No political history whatsoever, and he won the first time around, and probably won the second time around, but everybody's cheaty so dang much. Who knows? But I'm going to go stick with he won, they just cheated their way into it. So what does that mean? Well, it means if he can do it, the rest of us can do it. I always like to remind people, anytime they talk about Trump, he's so unsuave, and he's so this, that, and the other thing. He doesn't know anything about politics. He shouldn't be allowed to run the country, blah, 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 blah. And a couple of things I like to remind people. One, you got to start somewhere. All right? Start in your local state's legislature, running the mayorship, governor, all those various things. You got to start somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere. All right? Even if you start at the president, why not? But two, and more importantly, especially when it comes to the presidency, do you remember who the first president was? Right, George Washington. Do you remember who he was, though? He was a general. Yeah, before that. Colonel? Yeah, okay, before his military career. And after his military career. Before his presidency and after his presidency. And a few other things. In his heart, deep inside, he was just a farmer. He was just a simple farmer. That's it. Half the country's still farmers and ranchers. Right? Most of the countrymen, if you will, are still farmers and ranchers in the sense that they're doing the menial labor. They're doing other things. They're not out there in politics. They're filling grocery bags. I would say pumping gas, but nobody, gas stations really don't pump gas for you anymore, but they're picking up garbage, they're washing windows, they're driving taxis, right? Most of America, and I mean that literally, a majority of America is not these high-rise, high-wigging, blah, blah, blah knuckleheads. Oh, it takes a lot of money to compete in Congress and the presidency and whatever. No, it doesn't. Nowhere in the paperwork does it say you have to raise X number of dollars. That's all advertising. Literally, that's all it is advertising. Guess what knucklehead gave us a free method of advertising? Two of them, actually. We have Facebook and Twitter. Yeah, I know they're against conservatives. I agree 100%. They're against conservatives. They'll shut you down. But because they started it, other platforms are starting to go that way. Yeah, more and more platforms are coming out to promote, I mean, not necessarily promote, but kind of following the same social media shtick. Allows more people to get out there and say their own thing. Who knows? One day, in the far future, or maybe not so far future, we might have somebody actually trying to run their entire campaign on YouTube videos. YouTube's free. Yeah, sure, it's run by Google. Google hates conservatives. But I'm still here. You're still seeing my videos pop up. They haven't shut me down. Now, sure, we don't have a lot of subscribers on this channel yet. But that's not stopped a lot of the other great big conservative types out there. You can become popular if you put yourself to it. If you know how to work the game and all this stuff. Yes, money's helpful. But don't let that stop you. That's an American thing. We don't let anything stop us. If I really, 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 really want something, there's a legal way of getting it. And yeah, sometimes there's an illegal way of getting it too that has to be done. That's wrong according to the law, but is morally just. All right, that's how the whole revolution thing happened. Remember, maybe you've heard of it. Not not saying, hey, go war. Again, going back to a previous statement, I want a civil, in quotes, war. Where we're actually kind to each other. Not kind in the sense of what liberals insist we do. No, 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 no. I'm saying we speak to each other, listen to each other, verbally smack people around, and more importantly, don't let them decide the narrative. They don't get to do that. Right now, the conservatives, and it's starting to grow smaller and smaller, unfortunately, but there's still plenty of conservatives out there who agree that this election was stolen. Now, I've seen some of the bigger conservative types say, well, there's no widespread evidence of that. No. Okay. You guys keep asking for a smoking gun on a silver platter with neon lights and everything. Funny story, according to the court of law, I just have to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's it. All I have to do is prove that cheating occurred. And they keep telling me I can't. No. It's not that I can't, it's that they won't let me. There is a difference there. There have been a lot of different people saying, here's video evidence that never gets to court. Here's a sworn affidavit from 5,000 witnesses that never sees the inside of the state legislature. You had that from the state Secretary of State and the Attorney General from Georgia. They said, yep, we listened, and we ignored it. We told them they were wrong. Told them they couldn't prove it. Not that they actually watched the videotapes or listened to the sworn testimony. They were just saying they were listening there for an hour and a half. Talking to them for 2 hours. 2 hours? That's it? A movie's less time than that. Okay, actually, a movie is a little bit longer than that. That's the same. That's a case of a movie. There's not enough time in 2 hours to find out everything you need to know. Court cases always take more than that. For years and years and years and years, they've taken longer than that. You obviously ain't tried very hard. Because you don't give a darn. You don't want it. You've thrown it out. So, we get our people in there. We get our people into those judges' stands. We get our people to be lawyers. Now, I realize our people don't want to be judges and lawyers. We prefer working the land. We prefer pumping gas. We prefer driving trucks. We don't want to get in the muck. Well, sometimes, unfortunately, and I know this from experience, you gotta get into the muck. It's the only way to clean it up. It really is. Now, of course, ain't for everybody. It's not. A lot of us are not engineered for that. But don't just assume, because that's the territory of the bad guys, that you shouldn't go there, because they're just going to take more and more control unless we put in there some kind of block. That's up to us to do. Alright, so put on your smarts, use your brains, come up with what you're good with. Don't let Congress run everything and then tell you what to do, because remember, this country, and I know they've all forgotten it, or, try to push it aside, throw it away, of the people, by the people, for the people. Governed on consent of the governed. We get to decide. A lot of people are out there saying, well, the people did decide that Biden won. Well, apparently not, because there's a lot of people saying, no, we didn't. In fact, the majority of people are saying, well, I've heard, some poll out there says 30-some-odd% say that we think it was stolen. That's all you could get was 30%? Who the heck did you ask? Because you sure as heck didn't ask me. I'd have told you the same thing. Got that little percentage bumped up. You must have been asking CNN's pollsters. Those guys are really good at finding people who won't tell what we want to hear. Schmucks. But even if you do have only 30% of the population saying, yep, it was thefted, that should give you a cause for concern. Because anything over 5% is sketchy. Statistics. So, again, go in, and that's my biggest thing is, go in there and prove it didn't happen. And in fact, that's something we're going to be doing later. Another video, probably one of our more streaming what I'm reading type videos, and not one of these, face-to-face type deals, just because it's easy to read that way. But I've been gleaning the internets. Once I get a nice solid package together, we're going to go piece by piece through some of these court cases, or the cases that didn't occur. that never got to court, the evidence that never existed because they wouldn't allow it or whatever. I mean, there was one thing out there that I heard about Dominion, right? And the parent company that runs Dominion, I don't remember which, don't care, is going out there attacking whichever lawyer it was that was running the game on Dominion cheated. Dominion's got all this hackery stuff, and they're basically running a lawsuit against her, saying, and not just her, like once we win here, then we're going to go after all these other people, to include news people. I mean, seriously, they're like, we're going after Sean Hannity, we're going after Rush Limbaugh, we're going after Glenn Beck, all these conservative types that have been sick. They report the news. All they do is report what everything else is going on, just like freaking Jake Tapper over there at CNN does. Well, what he says he does. We all know that's not true. But all they do is report the news. They're like, well, you push the narrative that we're a bunch of cheaters. We're reporting that's what she said. That's what we're reporting. We agree because we know you're cheaters. But that's what we're reporting. We never would have said it if she hadn't started it, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow, I'm not trying to pull blame away from them. I'm just saying you guys are stupid. And, hey, go ahead. Sue them. That's actually one of the things that I thought about be interesting with both the extra impeachment of Trump or going after these media guys. Something that these guys are not thinking about. Right? They're thinking about right now. Instant gratification. They should be thinking about the future, though. Not that this is going to come bite them in the rear end as far as somebody's going to do it to them, because that shenanigans ain't never going to happen. But think about it. If Donald Trump does get impeached a second time. Now, right now, they're saying he's impeached again a second time. That's not true. All they did was push the articles forward. It still has to get voted on to be impeached by the rest of the House. That's going to take time. And then conviction goes to the Senate. Again, going to take time. But regardless of the case, what they should be really thinking is, wait a minute, do we really want this in the history books? Because right now they're saying we wanted the books that he's impeached, he's convicted, so he can never run for president again. What they really should be thinking of is, what's it going to say in the history books? And Donald Trump is going to be famous or infamous for being impeached twice while in office. No other president has been there. Now, he already hit up into the other tier of presidents when he got impeached the first time. Well, now they're going to make him more famous by being the only president, so far, to be impeached twice. To be really hilarious is if he gets cleared of all charges twice. Because then it's going to make, again, it's going to make this power of impeachment look stupid and useless. Do you know how many people have been convicted under impeachment charges? Goose egg. Nobody's been convicted. Nobody. I'm just saying from experience here that impeachment seems to be the most useless tool in the toolbox for these guys, for Congress. I mean, I know why the Founding Fathers put it in there. It needed to be a check. But apparently, every time Congress tries using it, it doesn't work. Why do they keep trying? It boggles the mind. But anyhow, like I said, that's something they're trying to do, and they're going to continue trying it. And I'm sure once Biden's put into office, the next thing they're going to do is write up some goofy law that allows them to go after former presidents, because that's right now something else you don't do. Not that you can't, not that it's illegal, but it's something you don't do. It's a precedent that's being held that you don't go after former presidents. And this is something they're going to have to be very careful on. Very careful, because if they do go after Trump, with whoever it is they want to go after Trump with, if they do decide to go after Trump for X, Y, and Z illegal things that he supposedly did, which he didn't do, but supposedly did, if they decide to go after him with that after he's left office, because they want to ensure that he never tries it again, guess what? That opens a door. And that will come back to bite him in the rear end. Because then you can have your one or two really smart, really courageous Americans with lawyer degrees go out there and go, well, you know all these illegal things that Obama did? Well, you open the door, now I'm walking right through it. Very dangerous times for them if they try to pull that stunt. We'll see what happens. Anyhow, thank you all for watching. We'll see you later on the YouTubes, but until then, stay safe.